The waves crashed softly behind them, sunlight melting across the Cornish coast like liquid gold. Amelia Rhodes smiled at the camera, her white silk gown glimmering in the sea breeze. Beside her, Ethan Vale whispered his vows in that deep, confident voice that had once made 500,000 followers swoon. Every second of their wedding had been choreographed to perfection, every angle lit for beauty, every tear captured for engagement. The video went online that night under the title, Forever Vale, the Wedding of the Century. Within hours, it was everywhere. Comment sections overflowed with hearts and envy. Strangers declared them proof that love still exists. Amelia scrolled through the flood of affection, her thumb pausing on a single frame, her own smile frozen mid-laugh. It didn't look fake, but it didn't look real either. Ethan leaned over her shoulder and kissed her cheek. "Don't read the comments," he said softly. "Let them dream." She nodded, locking her phone and staring at her reflection in the glass balcony door. Behind her, Ethan raised a toast with his groomsmen, laughter echoing against the cliffs. By morning, the video hit 12 million views. They were invited to talk shows, brand campaigns, travel vlogs. Amelia smiled through every appearance, every interview, every perfect caption. Behind the screens, though, her hands trembled when she touched his. A month later, she stopped posting. Ethan explained it to fans as a digital detox. Cameras caught only him, always smiling, always promoting something new. Their love had become a product, a currency too profitable to fade. But when neighbors in Kensington woke one quiet dawn to the sound of sirens, the internet's perfect couple turned into breaking news. Detective Clara Miles arrived at the Vale penthouse before sunrise, stepping past flashing lights. The body lay upstairs, silk sheets untouched, wedding photos staring down from the walls. The caption that once united millions now read like a curse. Forever Vale. The call came through to emergency services at 6:42 a.m. Ethan Vale's voice cracked with panic as he stammered, "My wife isn't breathing. She's cold. Please, I think she's gone." The operator guided him through CPR, her tone steady while his breath came in broken gasps. By the time paramedics arrived, Amelia Rhodes was motionless, her pale skin faintly illuminated by the soft dawn filtering through sheer curtains. No bruises, no blood, just stillness. Photographers waited outside the Kensington apartment before the ambulance even left. Within hours, the news exploded online. Influencer Amelia Vale found dead, husband devastated. Fans flooded social media with candle emojis and clips from their wedding video. The hashtag returned to the trending list, revived by grief. Detective Clara Miles stepped through the penthouse doorway as uniformed officers cleared the room. Her eyes caught details others missed. The untouched breakfast tray, the neatly arranged perfume bottles, the faint scent of lavender mixed with alcohol. She paused beside the bed, studying Amelia's peaceful expression. Then she saw it, a camera on the dresser. The same one featured in their vlogs. The lens faced the bed, its small red light dark and lifeless. Clara leaned closer, noticing a thin film of smudged fingerprints across the surface, as if someone had tried to wipe it clean. Was this recording? She asked the forensic tech. He shook his head. Not anymore. The memory card's missing. Clara straightened slowly, her gaze shifting between the camera, the bed, and the grieving husband sitting in the next room. Ethan's eyes were red, but his hands were steady. Outside, the reporters shouted his name. Inside, Clara's voice broke the silence. If it was truly an accident, why was the only witness switched off? Detective Clara Miles sat in the digital forensics room, her face bathed in the cold light of multiple screens. Every monitor showed a different version of the same lie. Amelia Rhodes and Ethan Vale, smiling, kissing, laughing in exotic places. Their feeds were a shrine to love. Yet the more Clara watched, the less alive it all felt. In one clip, Amelia giggled as Ethan surprised her with flowers during a live stream. The audience flooded the chat with praise, calling them relationship goals. Clara froze the frame just as Amelia's laugh began to fade. Her eyes flickered sideways for half a second, toward Ethan's hand gripping her wrist too tightly. She zoomed in. A faint bruise peeked out from under her bracelet. Hours passed. Clara replayed videos from dinners, photo shoots, brand trips. Each one told the same story, beauty masking fear. When Ethan leaned in for a kiss, Amelia's shoulders stiffened before she smiled. When he laughed on camera, she flinched as if waiting for something unseen. Then came the leak. An anonymous fan account uploaded a 30-second clip titled "The Lost Honeymoon Footage." It had been filmed privately, not for social media. The couple sat on a balcony overlooking the Amalfi Coast, drinks between them. Amelia's voice trembled as she said, "You can't control everything, Ethan." His reply was calm, almost rehearsed. "I can control what people see." The video cut off just as a wine glass shattered. The comment section exploded before the clip was taken down. But by then, Clara already had a copy. She leaned back, heart tightening. The smile that once sold millions of views now looked like a mask carved by fear. The internet had built their fairy tale, yet somewhere in the pixels, it had also filmed their undoing. The glow of Clara's monitor painted the office in shades of blue and shadow. Outside, rain drummed against the glass as she scrolled through the endless flood of condolences beneath Ethan Vale's newest post. "Thank you for the love." Amelia would be proud. He looked devastated in the picture, a black suit, a tired smile, eyes red but camera ready. Thousands of hearts and kind words poured in. Clara almost missed it. A single comment. Ask him about the night in Brighton. It sat buried between crying emojis and fan prayers, posted 6 hours earlier. By the time she clicked the username, it had vanished. Account deleted. Clara's stomach tightened. She pulled the site's activity logs, tracing the IP trail through proxy servers, until a location blinked on her screen. An abandoned address in South London. Registered name. A. Rhodes, Amelia's maiden name. Her pulse quickened as she cross-checked timestamps. The comment appeared at 2:13 a.m., the same hour Ethan had been filming his public thank you livestream. Someone had wanted that message seen. An officer entered quietly, handing her a burner phone sealed in an evidence bag. It had been found in Amelia's old studio, hidden inside a makeup drawer. The last call made from it was to Ethan's number, 2 days before her death. Clara stared at the phone as thunder rattled the windows. It began to vibrate in her hand. An incoming call flashed across the cracked screen. No caller ID. She answered, but only static hissed through the speaker before it cut off. For the first time, Clara felt certain. Amelia Rhodes was trying to speak, and this time, she was using the only voice Ethan couldn't silence. Detective Clara Miles drove through the narrow streets of Brighton, the kind that seemed to breathe salt and secrets. The rain had washed the pavements clean, but the air still carried the echo of a woman's fear. Hotel records confirmed what Ethan Vale's statement tried to hide. Amelia had checked into the Mariner's Rest alone. Exactly 7 days before her death, the innkeeper, an elderly man with clouded eyes, recognized her photo instantly. "She cried when she paid for the room," he said quietly. "Said she needed somewhere no one would find her." Inside the tiny seaside room, the scent of her perfume still lingered on the sheets. Clara scanned the space. A half-empty wine bottle, a scribbled note in a guest book, the faint outline of a phone charger pressed into the bedside table. Amelia had lived here briefly, like a ghost rehearsing her disappearance. Security footage filled the rest of the story. On screen, Amelia appeared just after midnight, walking along the dimly lit street in a long coat. She was clutching her phone, pacing near the edge of the pier. Her lips moved as she argued with someone on a call, her expression shifting between anger and panic. Then she turned sharply toward the camera and froze. For a heartbeat, she looked directly into the lens, her face pale and wet with rain. Then she was gone. No record of a taxi. No checkout, no witnesses. The next time Amelia appeared was in a body bag in London, nearly 60 miles away. Clara replayed the final frame again and again. Behind Amelia's reflection in the glass door of the inn stood a faint silhouette. Taller, motionless, watching her. Whatever happened that week, Amelia had stopped being a wife and started being a witness. The digital forensics lab hummed with a low, mechanical rhythm. Clara Miles stood behind the technician as streams of recovered data flashed across the screen. Deleted messages, unsent posts, private voice notes. The glossy world of Forever Vale was starting to fracture into something far uglier. The messages between Amelia and Ethan read like a script for a dying marriage. Amelia, you turned us into a brand. Ethan, we are a brand. Without that, we're nothing. Arguments about sponsorships, exposure, and public image bled into jealousy. There was another name that kept reappearing. LR. The messages were cryptic, but the tone was not. Amelia accused Ethan of betrayal. He replied with threats disguised as concern, warning her to stop feeding gossip. Outside the lab, Ethan's PR team dominated the headlines, painting him as a grieving husband unfairly scrutinized. They released carefully edited clips of him crying during interviews, feeding the public's sympathy. But inside the evidence folders, Clara found a different narrative, one written in silence. Among Amelia's archived drafts were 4 emails, all unsent. The subject lines were identical. If something happens to me. Each opened with the same sentence. I can't trust what's being shown anymore. In one, Amelia detailed arguments that never made it online. In another, she described someone following her in Brighton. The final draft contained only a single line. He promised it would end quietly. Clara stared at the screen, her reflection merging with Amelia's words. Every click of the mouse felt like an intrusion into a confession that never reached its destination. Somewhere, beyond the data and the headlines, Amelia had already written her goodbye. Just not to the man she married, and the initials LR were about to reveal why. The interrogation room smelled of cheap coffee and nervous sweat. Lydia Reeves sat across from Detective Clara Miles, her mascara smudged into dark crescents beneath her eyes. Her fingers fidgeted with a tissue until it tore in half. Once, Lydia had been part of the glamorous world that surrounded Amelia and Ethan Vale, the smiling makeup artist who perfected Amelia's camera-ready glow. Now she was the woman who had turned herself in, shaking and silent, clutching something in her coat pocket. Clara set the recorder on the table. Lydia, when did the relationship with Mr. Vale begin? Lydia's voice came out cracked. Last autumn. He told me Amelia was falling apart, that she wanted out. I believed him. Her story spilled out like confession and curse combined. Ethan would message her late at night from hotel rooms, promising that when the cameras stopped, they'd start over somewhere else. She said Amelia found the messages one morning while filming a brand shoot. The fight that followed wasn't posted. No one saw the smashed mirror, the blood on Amelia's hand, or the ring she threw into the sink before locking herself in the bathroom. Lydia's tears came harder. He said he'd fix it before she could ruin everything. I thought he meant the marriage. Clara motioned to an officer. They placed a small evidence bag on the table. Inside, under the harsh fluorescent light, gleamed a gold band, Amelia's wedding ring. It had been found in Lydia's flat, hidden inside a perfume box. Lydia recoiled as if burned. I didn't take it. He left it there. Clara leaned forward, her tone low and steady. In love triangles, someone always ends up erased. The question is who erased Amelia, and who helped them hide the truth. The next knock on the door would bring that answer closer than Lydia expected. The newsroom was silent except for the hum of old computers and the steady drip of rain against the window. Investigative journalist Rowan Mercer slid the brown parcel across the table to Detective Clara Miles. No return address, no fingerprints. Only a single label written in neat block letters, in Forever Vale. Inside was an SD card. When Clara inserted it into the evidence laptop, the screen flickered to life with shaky footage. Fairy lights swayed above a crowded garden, music pulsing softly. The camera panned to Amelia and Ethan Vale, still dressed in their wedding finery. Her mascara was smudged, his bow tie loosened. The illusion of perfection had begun to crack. Amelia's voice trembled with fury. You lied to me, Ethan. About her, about Brighton, about everything. Ethan glanced at the camera, forcing a smile as if still performing. Not here. You'll ruin the night. Amelia stepped closer, her face half lit, half shadow. You already did. The air shifted. Guests in the background laughed, oblivious to the storm brewing at the edge of the frame. Ethan's hand tightened on her arm. The camera jolted as if whoever was filming had taken a step forward. Then the audio distorted. Amelia's voice rose sharply. If you touch me again, before the screen cut to static. Clara rewound it frame by frame. Her heartbeat slowed when she caught a glimpse of the reflection in the champagne cooler near the edge of the frame. The figure holding the camera wasn't a guest, it was Lydia Reeves. The same Lydia now sitting in custody. Clara's pulse quickened as she removed the card from the laptop. The truth wasn't buried in what the tape showed, but in what was deliberately cut. The one who filmed their love story had also filmed their final fight. By the time Detective Clara Miles arrived at the Digital Crimes Unit, the video had already vanished from every platform. Still, its echoes flooded the internet. Reaction clips, reposted snippets, screenshots of Ethan Vale's tear-streaked face before the feed abruptly ended. He'd gone live in the middle of the night, slurring words into his phone camera. "People think they know what happened," he said, voice trembling. "They don't. Some mistakes ruin lives. Some don't get forgiven." Then, as if catching himself, he looked off screen. "You said you'd delete it, didn't you?" A pause, the faint sound of a woman's voice. Static swallowed the rest. The clip cut just as Ethan whispered, "I didn't mean to." Clara replayed what little survived, her reflection ghosting across the dark monitor. The metadata didn't add up. The video hadn't originated from Ethan's verified profile. The IP address matched an inactive account, one belonging to Amelia Vale. Moments before the stream went live, her account had reactivated for the first time since her death. Then, minutes after it ended, it vanished again. "Someone wanted this scene," said tech analyst Jordan. "Someone with her login." The comments section, archived before deletion, read like a digital seance. Thousands of viewers begging for answers, some calling it a confession, others a ghost's revenge. But one stood out. "He's still lying." The username was the same as the deleted account from weeks earlier, the one that said, "Ask him about the night in Brighton." Clara's blood ran cold. The dead didn't post videos and they didn't log into accounts. But someone very alive wanted Amelia's voice to keep talking. And now they were using Ethan's guilt as their weapon. The wind howled over the cliffs of Dover as uniformed officers stood by the silver Jaguar, its headlights still burning through the morning fog. Ethan Vale sat motionless in the driver's seat, head tilted against the window, a faint trail of dried blood at his temple. The note on the passenger seat was written in block capitals smudged by rain. She wanted the truth. Now she has it. By noon, tabloids screamed his death across every headline. Influencer widower found dead after livestream breakdown. Comment sections became a digital graveyard of sympathy and conspiracy. Fans wept. Critics called it karma. The perfect couple's story had reached its cinematic end, and the world was ready to move on. But Detective Clara Miles wasn't. That evening, while finalizing her report, a new email slid into her inbox. No sender, no subject, only a single attachment named Truth MP4. The timestamp froze her blood, 1 day after Ethan's confirmed time of death. She hesitated before opening it. The file began with static, then shifted to footage inside Ethan's home office. He sat before the same camera from the wedding videos, eyes hollow, whispering into the lens. "You were right, Amelia," he said. "They deserved to know." Behind him, a shadow moved, not his own. The sound cut, replaced by a faint click like a camera shutter closing. Clara paused the frame. In the reflection of Ethan's computer screen stood a figure wearing Amelia's wedding dress, face obscured by light. Her stomach turned. The metadata showed the file had been uploaded from the same burner IP that once posted the Brighton comment. As thunder cracked outside, Clara whispered to herself, "Who's still telling this story?" The video ended mid-frame, with the words, "Or Forever Vale, the truth premieres soon."